This episode and others like it are made possible by the generous support of my patrons on Patreon. If you would like to help support this channel and get early access to every video, consider becoming a patron on patreon.com/CityScapes. Hey guys, CityScapes here, and welcome back to Verville episode 58. As usual, on screen right now, you get to see what we built in the last episode, episode 57. And yeah, man, that was truly something, to develop this whole landscape here with so many terrain differences, terrain challenges, and of course that awesome railway that's waving through the mountains here and all those helical tunnels. A really great thing, you should definitely watch it if you haven't seen it already. But for today's episode, I wanted to mix things up a little bit again, so we don't have too many episodes in a row where we just develop countryside stuff. I mean, it's also great, but the variety makes it, right? So where exactly are we right now? We moved all the way back to the city, and we are actually building or developing the area that sits behind the university district, which has been built in episode 27. Man, that was a long time ago too. Like so many things in this project here. And right before, you just saw me plopping down some houses all around the place. I cut most of that stuff out of the time-lapse because it's very repetitive, not too interesting I guess, and it's not really the main focal point of today's episode anyway, so I guess you could consider it just some background noise or something. One of the main things, on the other hand, that we built today is the hospital complex. In real life, Zurich has multiple hospital complexes, and I for some reason took a lot of inspiration, not a lot actually, just some inspiration from the Triemli hospital that you just saw there on Google Earth. I actually can't remember what the reason was for that, because there's also a hospital complex sitting right behind the university, like the setting we have here in Verville. But yeah, in a nutshell, I just wanted to have some kind of parkish looking area around the complex, not too dense regarding trees and greenery. And in the middle, I really wanted to have one large building, so the hospital is visible as such a thing from a distance already. And yeah, just for around the hospital, for some other buildings, I went with this office pack here. I don't know, for some reason it kind of reminds me of hospital buildings, not really sure why that is. but they definitely fit really great together. And for the main part in the middle, I went with this high-rise building here. It also fits the style very well, I think. And here I just tried to fit even another one of those, but I felt like, nah, it looked a little bit over the top and not too great. And here I wanted to build an emergency drop-off zone thingy. I first tried to make this with individual networks, individual roads, but I quickly realized that it's just too tricky to squeeze that all in here in this really tight spot, especially with the nodes that needed to be stretched and so on. So I just went for a very simple one-way, two-lane road and just banned vehicles from the one side because as you maybe saw, I put down some emergency vehicle props there, so it looks like a proper drop-off zone. The general approach for the area was to flatten it first, and then I just dragged a one-way road throughout the complex there, which I guess makes for good traffic flow, kind of makes sense also regarding access to all the buildings, but I mean, doesn't really need any justification, I guess. Yeah. I also built a little underground garage thingy where I hid all the actual block services for hospitals. And now that I speak of it, I should definitely build a proper pedestrian access through one of the main buildings that leads down there too, so people don't walk in the quote-unquote parking garage there. Yeah, I should definitely retrofit that one. Yeah, and here you can see me building some more residential expansion. They actually have a really great view there. I mean, this would be some prime real estate, I reckon. Especially when you consider that in a bit, the second part of today's episode, I will build a train station down there. So they would have really great access also for the highway, with the trams. They live in complete greenery on top of the hill, overlooking the city. It's really good real estate, yeah. Apart from the highway interchange, I guess this would be a bit noisy. But I guess I wouldn't mind living there. Yeah. I also chose some bigger mansions for that area. I guess that makes sense. Alright, and here we are building the train station, the Wipkingen district it's supposed to be. And here we get to see it on Google Earth as well. I took a lot of inspiration from the general layout of the area. You can see the truss bridge in front of the station, then this main road that's going underneath the train tracks there. And of course a very, very basic small train station. I'm actually not sure if it's even in use still. Yeah, don't know. I actually don't think so. I think the S-Bahn just skips that station, which is a shame. I mean, why do you have it in the first place? Other than in real life the station would have just two basic tracks with a center platform. I went for two bypass tracks for high-speed trains or just intercity or interregional trains, and moved the stopping tracks, the ones that sit right next to the platform, to the side. As you can see here, it's a piece of cake doing these kind of train stations now with a network multi-tool. Just use the parallel tool and place all those really nice networks. These ones are the platforms from Titan. And yeah, right now I'm building the pedestrian access. They need to be able to cross the tracks somehow here, and I really wasn't in the mood for building another underpass, because underpasses, they are a pain to build, my gosh. So for a change I went with an overpass with those amazing looking class pedestrian path, and yeah, a very simple and quick thing to do. Maybe you just saw the train that was coming in the station there, or maybe you missed it, it wasn't very obvious. But I had this really weird issue where all of a sudden all my trains and trams and public service vehicles, they kind of lost a trailer or something. They just looked like not like a complete train or anything. It was so weird, and it took me so long to figure out what exactly was going on. Then I realized that I reached the active vehicle limit in the game. This one sits at around 16,000 vehicles, and I completely topped out that limit. I have no clue why and where, and I mean, at that point, obviously, now I'm smarter. So yeah, the thing was, as soon as the vehicle limit is reached, the game is gonna cut off unnecessary quote-unquote trailers, apparently. And this only concerns... Oh wait, here you can see the tram. Did you see how it looked super weird? So, yeah, and the other weird thing was that I didn't feel like that I have that many active vehicles in the city. I mean, back then the traffic flow was around 80% or something, and I didn't even care about anything. I didn't do any time traffic lights or something. The streets just didn't look crowded or anything. And then I started resetting all vehicles, and I think only road vehicles. Yeah, you can do that in the menu from the traffic manager. And then all of a sudden I had a huge influx of vehicles coming into the city. Everything was completely clogged up. I had no clue what was going on, where everyone is going. And yeah, first I tried to battle the traffic congestions a little bit, also on some live streams. But yeah, long story short, it didn't help at all. And then I figured out that all of those people, they wanted to go to those one squared events generator. And Oculus, he is the guilty one. Just kidding, Oculus. But yeah, he kind of placed a lot of them around the stadium. And apparently one of those single event generator, they generate over 300 vehicles that want to come there. So this was probably the main reason why I had such a huge influx. Obviously, I myself also placed a couple of those event generators somewhere in the city. But I never really realized that I have so many vehicles that actually wanted to come into the city, but they couldn't spawn because there were too many active vehicles. And this was probably the reason why my streets always looked kind of empty and so on. I don't know how interesting this is to you, but maybe some of you have similar issues. And what I did then was I downloaded the More Vehicles mod from the workshop. And oh boy, after I downloaded that, I had over 38,000 active vehicles in the city, and it was a huge mess. It was absolutely insane, and I was actually really happy about it because finally my city looked really alive. I had so many vehicles going everywhere, and it was great. But I mean, it wasn't a sustainable solution because it really slowed down the simulation quite a bit, and my road network, it's not really suited for that amount of traffic, right? I mean, yeah, it's kind of small scale. I don't have too many highways and crazy intersections and so on. Interchanges, I mean. But yeah, then I started deleting some of those event generators, and now everything is back to normal. Now I have steadily around, I don't know, what was it? I think 20,000 vehicles in the city. And for some reason, it still looks like way more vehicles than before. Probably because they can spawn properly. But that's just an assumption of mine. Don't know if that's actually true. But yeah, that's a little headache I had to deal with during those uploads here. And yeah, in the meantime, I almost finished the Wipkingen district. Right now, I am beautifying this bridge start part here. Wow, that was there was a proper wording. I recently found this very, very cool looking asset on the workshop. Not sure how it's called, something like underpass or something, but it has those really cool brick wall texture, even some stairs already built into it, and it goes so well together with this viaduct asset, right? It really blends in perfectly. That was a happy little coincidence, as Bob Ross would say. And yeah, now we are off to actually place down some buildings for the Wipkingen district. First, I tried to fill this corner here, this radii perfectly with a building, but very soon I had to give up on that idea because it was just... It would have probably been possible, but I was just like, nah, it's not really worth it, and I stopped at some point. And here I filled it with one of those class underpath assets. They look also pretty damn neat. And it was a great opportunity to just build another little plaza here. I have to say, after this little rant about the vehicles and so on, I kind of run out of things to say here. Just need to have a look at the time-lapse real quick, and yeah, I guess that's another interesting part here. Making a little station building for the Wipkingen train station. Which is probably a good point to mention that we need more train station buildings, European train station buildings. I know that Titan, he worked on a beautiful Swiss station building from Thun, which I'm super excited to use at some point, maybe in my future project, whenever this will go live, or if even, not sure yet. But yeah, as you can see, I also cut out some of the progress in terms of building placement here, because, as I said, it's kind of repetitive. I think what we are doing right here is a little bit cooler. Building just a cute little pedestrian path along the viaduct here and the train tracks that's gonna lead directly to the train station. So people also from the surrounding area have really, really good access to the train here too. And the next station after Wipkingen station is already Verville main station. So this is very, very well connected in terms of public transit. So are many parts in Verville. Something I maybe should mention again, that my original plan for Verville was to build just a very vast public transit network, so we can enjoy those really cool POV rides everywhere. So I'm really happy to see that the latest upload, the Rigi Rack Railway POV ride, has been received very well. People seem to enjoy that, you guys seem to enjoy that, and I do so too, most definitely. So stay tuned for a lot more of those to come. And yeah, while I'm placing down this Bauhaus building and later on arrange it in such a fashion that, oh, there we go, so the tram can actually go underneath it. I wanted to say again a really big thank you for all of you guys watching the videos out there, and just this whole community that this is so supportive. It's, I don't know, it's just very wholesome. And even though this season of Verville is already kind of yeah, ending very soon, it's already episode 58. So you're probably, after episode 60, you're not gonna hear a lot from me anymore, except on Twitch, definitely, where I do the live streams and basically stream everything I do these days in City Skylines. I will still definitely keep up with building in City Skylines and so on. It's just so much fun to me. And at that point, a big shout out to my patrons: Connor, Renee, Toby, Dominic, Molovo, Rake, Sebastian, Omega, Martin, and Sebastian again. that is funny. Alright guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm really hope to see you in the next one.